Planned Brotherhood is not affiliated or associated with Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is a registered trademark of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Incorporated.
Go! Planned Brotherhood! Planned Brotherhood! PJ and Nick are out of control. They would crash the airwaves with a microphone. So sit down tight and listen close. All the ladies now take off your clothes. Planned Brotherhood! Planned Brotherhood!
It's not really a question so much anyway as what do you remember about? Okay, so we said on the show before we never went to public high school. Bailed after 8th grade. Even though I remember 6th through the first half of 8th grade, I was 2 grades ahead of you. Already decided public high school wasn't for me, and was taking it easy at home. And I couldn't believe that for that 2 years you continued to claim that you had all the interest in the world in going to high school.
I think it was only in 7th grade that I actually wanted to go to high school.
I don't know. I remember
think in 6th I didn't. In 7th I did. And then like the first day of
Were you really
8th grade,
popular in 7th grade? Is that why?
I was I had friends.
I was
and
asking
stuff.
as a joke. You actually
No,
were?
I finally had friends, and I made people laugh in class.
I had friends, and I made
wasn't
those
getting
friends
beaten up
laugh,
as
but not
much.
because I was popular.
While
That was between jerk-off sessions in their dad's basement.
I would make like popular kids
That
laugh.
sounded way gayer than I meant it to. Like, we were looking at porn.
Well, in 6th grade is when I got kicked out of the highly capable program, and like my teacher revenged me into sending me into the easiest fucking class of all time. Have I talked about that?
I think you may have.
You get candy bars if you answered a question right.
Right.
And all the tests were just or like the class would take a test, but it's like I'll ask this kid this question, like, and everyone gets A's, and you get a question right, and you get a mini Baby Ruth or something.
Yeah.
Like that was great. And
You pull
like,
out your safety pencil and your circle of paper.
the dumb hot girls in that class, like I'd always help them with their homework and stuff like that, and that kind of carried over into 7th grade.
So you didn't mind then being sent to the dumb kids class?
No, not at all.
Sounds like Easy Street
no,
to me.
I wasn't. I knew college was never going to be an option, so I wasn't trying to.
Did you know that in middle school? Had we already decided?
Yeah, I think that's just something.
We just knew there was going to be no money coming from it.
right.
anywhere.
We were like born with the knowledge that we weren't going to go to college,
And none of our family had
And
ever
that we
gone to
weren't gonna
college.
be
Like,
athletic.
it was never discussed. It was never a priority.
I think only one member.
It was
of
never
our,
suggested.
I think only one member of our family, at least on Dad's side, and I'm talking extended family, had even gone to high school.
High school.
Right, because like Dad didn't, and out of all of his siblings,
No,
only,
I know.
only Lori did for a short time. So like we knew we were
Nobody went to public high school,
Right.
extended family, and nobody went to college until
Yeah.
Lori did. She probably did, right?
Yeah, and she went to public high school for a short while.
Oh yeah.
But no, like I'm serious. The first day of 8th grade, I was never going to go to high school.
Okay. You want to talk about your gangster phase? Was that 7th or 8th grade?
That was probably 7th.
And that involved you wearing shorts that were way too big for you
Uh-huh.
and pretending to like terrible music. Do you remember any of this?
Yeah, pretty much. And I think I'd put the gangster talk into effect. Like,
Well, Dad certainly accused you of that, if nothing
I
else.
remember strutting around and like having a pimp limp and stuff like that. And I think I tried to talk kind of uneducated and gangster like.
It was weird for you being as scrawny and as white as you were.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hated you during that period. There was this song that I made fun of you for liking, and it was one of the biggest fights we ever got into as kids.
I stand by that song.
You remember
I
what
would
it
still
is?
Like
Don't
that
you?
song. Candy Rain.
Candy-coated raindrops, I think, or some
From,
bullshit.
Soul for All for Soul or All for One.
We got in the episode with that just so I can hear it again.
Okay. Candy coated rain.
And so you'd come in the house,
I
like
always
strolling in
liked
with your
the
gangster
occasional
hat
shit
on,
song.
and you'd be singing that song, and I'd make fun of you, and then you would get super defensive just because I don't like the same music as you, Nick.
Well, it's true. Just because I didn't go to Weird Al concerts every other week.
Yes,
like,
you did.
Doesn't mean
you
that I
went
was
to
in
all
the-
of them that I went to.
No, you've been to more of them than me.
Only as an adult, with a nostalgic. And I was taking Melissa. It was her first concert.
Yeah.
She had a blast. He went for over 3 hours.
You never went through any phases like that in school? Like, you never tried to be a skater
No.
or a preppy?
I liked that phase of yours, though. The skater phase. I
Yeah.
thought that was fine. It was fun.
I feel like I haven't outgrown that yet. I rode my skateboard to work the other day because I was running late.
I didn't even know you had one.
Yeah. Turns out like it's in a horrible shape. Like there's bolts missing off the trucks and it's so fucking wobbly. But I was like had 15 minutes to get to work, and usually I give myself a half hour to walk. So I was like, all right, I'll bring the skateboard. It was so embarrassing, guy. I was like thinking when I was going, I was like, oh man, like my goal is to like ollie onto 2 curbs. And like I just got going, and I was like, wow, my goal is to like stay on the board. And like I like not fell off, but like would have to jump off and do the running thing, you know, running alongside it because I was losing my balance so bad. And these 2 girls from work drive by, and they're like, hey, PJ's on a skateboard. And that was like right during one of those times when I almost fell and I had to jump off. So embarrassing. The trucks were so loose you could not ride it.
It's especially embarrassing because you used to be, I mean, I don't know what good skating is. But for a time, like, yeah, I went to the skate park with you one time, I remember.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't do anything. I just sat there and hung out. But you could do some stuff. You held your own.
I could technically, I could do a few tricks technically very well, but I had no style whatsoever.
Still, I was impressed by the technique. And
yeah, but it's like someone, like, if you see someone just do something, that's one thing. Like, they're just riding around and they come up on a rail and they slide on it. That's one thing. But, like, when you have to watch someone like just point the board directly at the rail, skate up to it, like have I would just be thinking so much like, okay, gotta jump now and push down and be able to do it like maybe 50% of the time.
But you don't look like you're having fun while you're doing it.
Right. I look like someone who's just been practicing this over and over. That's why I like street skating more, like just going places. Like in Tacoma, it was pretty easy. Like, because you could have a little style then and not have to do any tricks.
Right.
You get down low, you almost drag your ass on the ground.
I never understood it. That started with Chris, right?
Yeah. No, I was already skateboarding when I met Chris.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the things that I liked about Chris so much. We met up in the parking lot with our skateboards.
And what was it? Gleaming the Cube made you decide you wanted to get out there?
That was a great movie. Yeah, that taught me how to soul skate.
What does that mean? What is that?
Gleaming the Cube is like when you reach that point in skating where you just let go. That's Gleaming the Cube.
I had no idea.
There's literally lines in that movie where they're like skating empty swimming pools, and they're like, yeah, buddy, gleam the cube, Brian.
It sounds awful. I cannot wait to see it.
I remember I wanted Gleaming the Cube so bad because Chris had a copy on VHS, and they were like it was the hardest movie in the world to find. And you and I went to a pawn shop on 1st Street here in Yakima, and I was like, dude, we got to find Gleaming the Cube. And I had always told you, if you ever find it, like, just buy it. And
I remember
make sure
that,
you buy it for me. And
we're talking VHS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we go into this pawn shop, and there's a huge wall of VHS, and in no particular order. So we're just looking through it.
Take the time.
Like
you're a store. You're a business.
We're looking for Gleaming the Cube. Do you remember this? We're just looking and
No.
looking and looking for it. And we're like, oh, it's not here. And then we asked them if they had any movies in the back, and they had a milk crate
that's
full
right.
of VHS, and it was in there. I couldn't believe it, and I still have it.
And you still don't believe in God.
No, that's true.
That's pretty amazing.
But I still have it. I couldn't give it to Grandma when I gave her my VCR and all my tapes. Like I had to keep Gleaming the Cube,
Just in case.
it never comes out on DVD.
Right. You get a hair up your ass. You spend $20 on a VCR down at Fred Meyer.
That would be fun.
It would be fun. I've got home videos too.
Mm-hmm.
Those wouldn't be fun to watch. Not for you anyway. You're getting yelled at the whole time.
I guess I could get it transferred to a DVD the way you can transfer home movies to a DVD. Would that be possible?
I'm sure. In fact, I think I talked to Aunt Lori about it. It seems like an option.
Well, I know you can do home videos.
Why haven't I done that
Lori
yet?
did it with all of hers. I know, because then we could put them online.
Oh, shit. Especially that one where Dad's yelling at you in the waiting pool.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Classic. We should start every episode with that soundbite once we have the technology.
To be
Patrick.
To be fair to Dad, I was being like a super asshole, annoying kid.
Yeah, but you were really little.
Yeah,
those are things annoying. Kids are annoying.
It's comparable to when a kid will go, "Ooh, that candy sure looks," or "Oh, I wish I could have some candy."
Man,
that's basically what I was telling Ashley. Ashley, go tell my mom that you want juice.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, Ashley, do you want juice? Yeah. Go tell my mom. Go,
Patrick. and he's behind the camera and scolding you. Like, he doesn't even think about this. Like,
Yeah.
this is there for life now.
And then I stand
This is
there.
imprinted in your brain. There's no way you'd remember this story ever because it's not a story.
I know.
But seeing it like 15 years later.
And you watch me just stand there and sulk and be so embarrassed. I can just like head down.
There is some funny home videos of us as kids because you especially seem to have the weirdest sense of humor. Like, it wasn't quite a joke, but I remember it was the infamous snow tape where we're sliding down the hill.
Going into the ditch and...
Yeah, we fall down a lot, and that's funny. But there's one point where, for no reason, halfway down the hill, you yell, "Good morning, Vietnam!" What? You don't even know what that means. That's just something you heard.
I'd obviously seen the preview for the Robin Williams movie on HBO or something like that.
It's so funny to watch that.
That's pretty embarrassing. I wasn't very funny about it.
It's just hearing a kid yell Vietnam in any context, you know?
Did he go, Patrick?
No, I think he dug it.
I remember one of us had a shitty rolled up toboggan thing that like would not stay.
Yeah, they
Like,
still
it would
sell
just
those, as
curl
it turns
up
out.
constantly.
Yeah.
And the other one had like the good red saucer, and we're always
Yeah, red
like,
plastic,
and
sturdy.
I think you hogged that one because you hear me going throughout the whole thing. Hey Nick, you want to trade? Hey Nick, you want to trade?
And then me at 10 years old, no, Peter, I don't want to trade.
Right, we'd trade, and then like 2 turns later, you're like, PJ, let's trade.
How was my voice deeper when I was a child?
I
That
don't
doesn't
know.
make any sense.
Fucking was.
I know. I look like a creepy old man in these tapes just because of the voice. What if it's an elaborate scheme and somebody went in and changed all the home videos so that I would think I was a freak?
No, I remember your voice sounding like that as a kid. I remember like doing impressions.
Did
of
you
you,
ever
like,
call me on it?
Oh, hey, I'm Nick. I'm a faggot. Like that was my impression
good
of you.
one.
I would do at school.
Oh, yeah, going back to school, the whole reason I started this, homeschool, right?
Yeah.
You had to find things to do. I know you never, so the homeschool that we went through for high school was, I literally think Sally Struthers was in the commercial that came on TV.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where get your diploma through
It was
the mail.
called ICS.
Yeah,
Because
International Correspondence School, something
Schools,
like that.
yeah. It was because
Based in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
that was the commercial that would start with her saying, "Do you want to make more money?"
Sure,
we all do.
Yes, of course. And so Barber College,
Right.
beauty school, whatever the fuck, and then high school. But
It's just correspondence things. You know what I mean? It's just like you learn something through the mail, like through like how you take internet classes now. But like it wasn't GED in the sense that we could just study and take a test. Like it was a fucking high school course.
it's true.
Like I think you did it in 2 years, but like if you actually took summers off, the way like they said is totally fine to do.
Uh-huh.
I think they give you 4 years to finish it is what happened, and you finished it in 2.
Yeah, and it was the
And they were like, even if you take summers off, you'll finish it. In
it was
4
the
years.
biggest joke. So this is my whole high school education: is me getting a test in the mail.
But
with
that's
like
so
a little...
much better than a GED because you're getting the test like every week.
Okay, I understand that, but the tests are all bullshit. Everything is multiple choice. There's actually a phys ed course, and they would send you a thing giving you instructions on what exercises to do each day, and then you just have to write back telling them, yes, I did this.
Yeah.
There's no way they're following up on that. I mean,
I would.
there
I
was
barely
no...
started it when I did it.
I know, it's weird. And remember, because I'd already had the decision to take homeschool 2 years before you did.
This is a story about how I could have had my diploma in 1 week.
Okay.
And would have it now, which is
That's
really
the
holding
wrong
me
way
back.
to look at this, is what I'm saying. Okay. So the story is, I flew through it in 2 years, which is pretty awesome to be done with high school at 16.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, except for I got a job right away. But yeah, so I blew through it pretty fast, I think. I still had energy and, confidence at the time, I guess.
Yeah.
I could apply myself to do things like that. So I would just fill in my bubbles, and then after 2 years, I had a high school diploma. And I was also like the weirdest kind of pack rat at that age. And so everything I got in the mail, no matter what it related to, it could be a flyer for something, I'd fucking stash it away in a cardboard box that I meticulously organized every single night.
Made lists about
as opposed to
what
hanging
was in
out
all
with
your
you.
boxes.
Yeah. Yeah, I had weird things like a big bulk envelope full of receipts for everything.
As a kid, you would seriously never hang out with me.
And it's because I was doing weird OCD shit all
Yeah.
the time.
But like even as teenagers, you would never hang out.
Especially as teenagers.
Yeah.
I hated you at that point, which I guess is why. Okay, so I would get the grades back for every. I can't remember how exactly it worked. Like I still had the answers to.
Yeah. Yeah, you had copies of all the tests you took. I guess they would send it back like corrected.
Oh, that's right.
With
That's
corrections
right.
on
And I
them.
done pretty well. I mean, it was all basic math and
Yeah.
bullshit. But yeah, so I had them all saved, and you knew that. Like the whole high school education's worth of answers right there at your fingertips. And I don't know why you didn't just bust into my room and steal it when I wasn't there one time.
Because I think that like
I probably had counted them all.
you obviously would have known I was doing that, and you obviously would have ratted me out to do it.
I know, and I feel bad about it now. Of course, I wish you had a diploma. I could have helped you there. You know, you can take a test now.
Yeah, and I could have done it back then. Like I was in the same thing as you.
I think
did
it was
in
more
2
of a
years.
pride issue. Like, I did it, now you have to fucking do
No,
it.
I mean it wasn't that. I mean I remember sitting down with those books and just going like, "Oh my god, I do not want to do it." And then weeks went by and months went by, and I was like, "I'm so far behind now. I'd have to work like twice as fast to even finish it in the 4 years."
Right.
And then I remember when the 4 years was over, because that would always be kind of my thing with Dad. Was he'd be like, "You need to get back on that homeschool," because I was still enrolled in it, and like theoretically I could go through it. I'm surprised he never made you give me all the answers, but I just never did it. I did so little of it, maybe a week's worth.
What's Dad thinking at that point? Like, you'd already made the
I don't
decision.
think he cared. He wasn't paying attention.
You think
But-
he would more, though.
But by the end of it, he was getting divorced. Is that right?
I don't know.
because-
I think you'd already bailed on the whole high school thing by that point.
By the time it was like too late, I would have been like 17.
I guess so. Get back on that wagon, buddy.
Yeah, well, I get my GED. I'm not going to spend no 4 years or 2 years.
No, that's senseless. I don't even think they exist anymore as a school. So whenever I have to put like high school, like what high school did you go to when I'm filling out some application?
If somebody knows of a cheap place I can go to on the internet and do my GED test there, because that's the big thing. Like here in town, I could do it, but like you have to go sit in a classroom with a bunch of people. That's the
That
kind of
sounds
stuff I don't want to
uncomfortable.
relive.
Ugh,
So
I could never do it.
and I know that I can Google GED on the internet, but if anyone knows someone that like got one and it's like actually a legitimate GED, then I'd much rather do that.
Yeah.
Much rather.
Me too. I understand where you're coming from there. When I was still dating storytelling, one of her big concerns was not storytelling. I'm sorry. Cut that. All these code names get confusing in my head
Pincushion?
sometimes. Pincushion, my most recent of girlfriends. Yeah, she was. I don't know why she dated me at all. Like she was 22 or something at the
Met her
time.
on Craigslist.
Yeah, that's why I'm dating her, or was, and still am secretly.
Basically.
No, fuck that. But yeah, she once we'd started dating, I think it slowly came out like how uneducated I am and how unmotivated I am. Like she saw something in me at the beginning.
I bet she always was like, "But you're so smart. You're so smart."
Yeah, she did say that bullshit a lot.
I hear that a lot. Not from my wife.
Of
People
course.
at work and stuff.
Yeah, so her whole thing was,
And that's
You-
not to imply my wife doesn't think I'm smart. That's to imply that like she wouldn't even know if I was smart.
okay.
That's how unsmart.
So she would just say motivating things like, "You're in your late 20s. You're so, I can see the ambition in you," which is bullshit. I don't know.
That is bullshit.
How drunk she must have been when she said that. But yeah, she wanted me to go back to school, but she had that way of like trying to make me think it was my own idea. Like I'd never really thought about going to college again, although I would like to take some film something or other that won't lead to anything.
Yeah.
It'd still be fun to do that.
Fun to learn how to do it.
Yeah. But so she keeps pushing me. She's like, just the community college that's like 2 blocks from my apartment. She's like, you need just, find something you like. You should do it. You should do it. And so it was at a certain point where I'd lied to her and said I'd done it, and I was waiting to get stuff in the mail. But I was just stalling, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually when I thought she was going to break up with me if I didn't show proof soon, I wandered into the school. And it took me right back to 7th grade where I was like, I fucking hate this. Get me out of here.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is
Just waiting in line and like dealing with the bitchy office secretary or
I
whatever.
really want to go to that same school when I move to Seattle, and hopefully I'll get over that whole classroom thing, because that's the only reason for me to get a GED.
I mean, we have to remind ourselves we're adults now.
yeah,
We can take care of whatever comes up. But
yeah, exactly. And it shouldn't be that bad for us to sit in the classroom, but it seems so bad. But, like, we're not those people who went to college, finished college, and, like, still, maybe you only see this on TV, but, like, the parents will be like, oh, you know, we're going to go to a reading club. We're going to join a book club. And they go to a class in a high school. A book club is probably in your house, but they take, like, a literature class. And they go to class, and they get assigned books to read, and they give reports on it. And it's for nothing. It's just continual education.
If I could get over myself and just walk into a room and do something like that, I'd probably enjoy myself.
Yeah, something.
I really think I would.
Something like
even just a book
club.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to talk.
It's almost 4. Then we can watch Oprah.
I'd want to listen to everybody else's theories. I wouldn't really want to participate. But when I read a book, I'm always like, oh, I wonder what other people like think about this part.
They have book club. Cut that. They have a book club podcast, I think.
Oh, really? That sounds boring.
How is that boring? I mean, it's basically the same thing, and you don't have to interact with people, like,
That's
personally.
True. No coffee,
But
though.
You can go onto their site, you know, and listen to the episode, and they'll discuss whatever book they've assigned the listeners to read. I think it'd be kind of fun. I think we should start with Tales of the Fourth Grade Nothing. Listeners, anybody that doesn't own a copy needs to get on that shit. I read that again recently.
Really? I'd like to read that again.
It's fun.
I kind of want to read Hatchet again. We've been talking so much about Hatchet
I know.
lately.
I don't know how it comes up so much on this show.
So didn't you told me that you like at least applied for enrollment, or are you lying to me at the same time?
No, I actually did apply, but then I just didn't follow through with any of the paperwork they needed. I don't know. It was too much money, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm not opposed to it entirely. I'm just glad I didn't do it because I remember Pincushion only met Mom and Dad on a couple of occasions. But it was clearly, especially Dad, that they were not stoked on her. And when it had come out, like, because she would do things, we'd be sitting at a restaurant with Dad, and she'd lean over, be holding my hand, and she'd say, so Nick's going back to school. He's really interested in blah, blah, blah. And Dad knows that it's not me.
Yeah.
So he has a conversation with me.
I remember, to me, it seemed more like Mom didn't like her, because Mom would be like,
Mom didn't like her either.
She's making him do this. She doesn't seem like him. And she, like, when you guys went to see Cinderella or something, like a ballet, she's like, I can't believe Nick
Romeo
went
and
to
Juliet.
that. This girl is really making Nick do a lot of things he doesn't want to do.
And Mom's not wrong. I also took a salsa dancing class with her.
God.
It was
You could go to
terrible.
college.
I was terrified. I smoked like 6 cigarettes like right before it started outside, and then
Why
I
would
came
you
in
do
and it was
that?
the most.
It's not going to work out between you guys.
No,
Salsa
obviously not.
dancing?
She's like a club slut too. Like she loves to go out and just grind up on people.
I love that my wife has as little interest. Like, I could see me wanting to take a class like that before my wife. Like if I get a bug in my ass one day.
So she paid for it, like $200 for us both to take like a month's.
Sorry, go ahead.
She paid $200, surprised me with this little gift, and said, "Oh, I think we should do salsa dancing together. You know how much I love dancing. You know how much I love you. Let's do this together." And then so we go to this like awful place, and it's really close to my house, and it's just like this big ballroom. And like I said, I was chain smoking. I was not into it. And I knew she'd spent all this money on it, and she was really hoping, like, oh, he'll just be rhythmic when I tell him to, you know? And that doesn't work.
Anyone can do this.
And it's awful. Like, I'm clearly the worst in the class, and there's like 40 people around us, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And her friend Jeremy is there, but not to dance. He's just there hanging out. And he's an experienced dancer, too. He's also a club slut. So he sees me walking like Frankenstein through this whole ordeal. And, like, the teacher keeps coming up and putting her hand on me and telling me what I'm doing wrong. And it went on for an hour that felt like 4. And she never said, she said, oh, you did great. You did great. You know, it's the first class. You'll get better. But then the following Tuesday when we were due to go for the second time, she made some excuse right at the end, like, oh, we should just hang out and watch 6 Feet Under or something. And I was like, yeah, of course. And then it never came up again. So I just assumed she was so embarrassed by my first time out that she just never made mention of the fact that she'd wasted all that money again. But at least I didn't have to go again. Good God, that was a terrible time of my life. Sex, not bad, though.
She's texting you again, right? She's texting you lately?
Yeah. After months of my ignoring her. I haven't talked to her since January, and I did mention on a show before, she'll occasionally reach out. She'll send me. At first, it was just stupid stuff like, here's a link to something about Twitter. I know you're on Twitter, and that would be it. Like trying to reach out to me when it was.
Is she on Twitter?
No, at least not that I know. She'd be terrible. But then I actually got an official apology Facebook message from her maybe like 2 months ago. And it was apologizing for the way she treated me in the last couple months that we were involved, which I appreciated. But I feel like I've gone so long without talking to her, and for no reason as far as she knows, because she's crazy. But that's why. But I was doing so well, because it used to be one of those things where we'd have broken up, she'd reach out to me, and then because I want to get laid that night, I'm jumping right back on it, right? Yeah. And most of the time it would work out that she would come over, and then it would be horrible again.
That was the thing with storytelling, too, because you guys would break
it's the
up
thing with
and get
everybody
back
I
together
date
all the time.
It's terrible. I don't know. I got to get over that. And that's what I decided in January. I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Plus, I knew she was seeing some guy, so that made the decision easier. And so I just started ignoring her completely. And after that apology I got a couple months ago, there was nothing until last week. She sent me some bullshit saying that she actually called me, and I didn't answer, and she left a voicemail saying that she's going to the National Guard, at which point you said what?
God, because she... she really wants to be confused for a boy in every way or something like that.
It's true.
She looks kind of like a boy.
She was often accused of looking like a boy, yes. Yeah. Never to her face, though.
Grow out your hair.
But
she had the arches that I always wanted in middle school.
That's why I liked fucking her, because it was like fucking Matt Damon. But yeah, so she started sending me these texts last week saying she was going into the National Guard and we should get coffee and stuff.
And then she texted you while you've been here. Didn't
yeah,
she text
pretty
you
sure I'm not going to
yesterday or
respond to her. Although now it seems more like a thing where...
Please don't respond to her.
I haven't yet. Because you know why? I'm winning right now.
I've made fun of her much. You can't get back together with her. It's
no,
gonna be awkward.
I'm not saying I'm going to get
all
back
your friends
together.
in Seattle hate her, right?
Oh, they despise
fucking
her.
hate her.
They despise her. And they were there when I got that phone call. It was Sam and Margaret sitting there in the room, and I was like, "Holy shit!" calling me because she's tried to reach out to me a lot, but she's never called me.
Yeah.
And so it went to voicemail. We waited a minute. I put it on speakerphone because I have nothing to hide at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, she just said, we should get coffee. Give me a call back. I'm leaving in 12 weeks. Like, why is she giving me that much time? It's clear she wants to bone me again, I think.
And it also seems weird to me that someone who has their life or wants you to have your life together much more, like that seems like a really just whimsical, like all of a sudden thing.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm joining the National Guard. Granted, I'm sure there's signing bonus and education opportunities and stuff like that. But like, would she suggest you do that? Because
no.
Any redneck can do that.
It would never come to anything like that. She would have weird discussions with me, even like in the pit of our dating. You know, the most serious we ever were together. She would say things sometimes like, I'm really thinking about going to Africa, Nick. I don't expect you to come with me. Like, just an idea she'd have. Or, like, our little sister who's mentally disabled, when she caught wind of that and actually met Melissa, like, all of a sudden it became her life's motivation to make sure that Melissa gets cared for in the way she needs to. And so she'd always...
Without even a real particular closeness with Melissa, right?
No.
They didn't act like sisters. She doesn't still talk to her.
No. In fact, it was uncomfortable whenever Melissa was around.
It was just like, here's a case I can take.
Right. And so she made a big thing about it, and she was going to start a nonprofit helping the kids like this just get better funding and blah, blah, blah. And
so she wants a good story. I could do this in my life.
She does everything to impress other people.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm just not the type of person that cares about that. But, yeah, in addition to that, like, she would say crazy things. Like, we would talk about marriage. We dated for, like, 8 months. And she'd be like, when we get married, I think it's our responsibility to take your little sister in. And I can understand the point that she's not being well taken care of now, but I don't need to take her in, especially when I am trying to bang a chick,
Yeah. Yeah, I have no interest in doing that either. And where are you guys going to live? Like in an apartment and have Melissa? When were you going to get married?
No, she was expecting me to go to college and then get some great job, I think. She made a lot more money than me, which was huge considering
so
like
why
the 6-year
is she
age
quitting that
difference.
to join the National Guard?
Because she gets a hair up her ass about something and she just goes for it. I'll be surprised if she actually goes. The fact that I know that she has 12 weeks before she's going, she's probably just pulling some trick for all I know.
Yeah, but if you get a bonus and you spend the money, I think you have to go.
Okay. She quit her job for it
Wow.
already. She also didn't believe me the first time I said I'd never gone to college.
She didn't believe
She thought I
it.
was doing some character, I think.
Are you serious that she acted like that?
I'm just saying she always acted like that. That might not
would
be a
such a
specific thing.
pretentious thing. Like someone who didn't go to college. Oh my God, the way people live.
I mentioned she's Republican too, right?
Yeah. I
Although
don't know if you have on the show.
Sources say she voted for Obama.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm. I think she told me that, so I'd sleep with her again.
Her and I never had any problems with each other, did we?
I don't think so.
I'm sure you heard her talking about me more than I did, but
She never had anything bad to say about you. She
There's
just didn't
never-
know you that well.
there's never any blow up between her and I, which is pretty good.
No, I remember actually one of the first times she came to hang out, it was her and her friend, who I won't even give a code name for because I don't care. And they actually came out and met us, and we were playing a home game somewhere, poker.
The most annoying home game ever because of Pincushion and her friend.
I didn't realize that. Like, I'm not seasoned. I don't play these games. I don't.
Yeah.
Don't you have a feeling about girls in general when it comes to poker, though? I don't mean to generalize it in such a way, but
No, just when it comes to in life, I think I find them much more annoying on a every level.
so what were they doing that was annoying you so much? Because
Oh,
I had just started seeing
Just when
her.
they cackle and like you have to tell them 20 times that it's their turn, or like you tell them
explain a hand to them.
that's not so bad because they're learning. But when they refuse to learn is another thing. When they sit there and they go, "Whose turn is it?" and you're like, "Your turn," and then like they'll just keep talking and talking and talking or whatever, and then they ask whose turn it is again. It's like I know you don't think that we went around the table another time. And then so like I remember telling her friend, I was like, "Here's a good thing to remember: if you have to ask whose turn it is, it's either your turn or his turn." Pincushion's turn, damn it. But I remember saying that to her and being like, "Oh God, I hope that didn't sound too assholey."
That's pretty assholey, dude.
But I get pretty into it.
Yeah, and I was apparently oblivious to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I had held her hand for the first time under the table.
What? You guys weren't even dating seriously when she came that time?
No, like we'd barely hung out together. But she hangs out in Ellensburg a lot.
What is with you bringing new people like
I was going through some weird
through
things.
family things with shoe stars too? Like I don't know you at all, and come see my family.
I really thought I was in love with Shoe Stars at first.
I want to, and it seems weird that they would go, that they would want to go.
Yeah, Shoe Stars volunteered, and she had a car that was really handy.
Yeah, that helps.
That's usually what it came down to. Is I don't drive and I hate the bus.
Shoe Stars trip, as annoying as it was better than a Pincushion.
You
Better
think so?
better than visiting with Pincushion.
Okay,
I didn't have
even
to
though she was crazy, Shoe Stars.
I didn't have to feel like anyone, like I'm hanging out with someone who thinks they're smarter than me, or like could be judging me.
Right. And Pincushion did give that vibe.
Yeah.
That's why it was such a relief to find Shoe Stars after that. Even though nothing came of it, we didn't even sleep together. But like we were dating for like a month and a half, maybe. And the first time I met, this was another internet thing. Have we talked about the origins of Shoe Stars yet?
I don't know. I think we did when she recorded with us, but that went so bad. That went so bad that
We never used it.
Yeah.
We never posted that. No, I think it was another Craigslist find. I can't remember for sure.
I think it was. Yeah, I remember.
But yeah, so we were going to hang out, and her big idea was that, let's meet. You seem cool. And there was an outdoor screening of Juno, like on top of some building or something. It was just like some weird little layout, and it was obviously like homegrown. Like you go in there, and they have a popcorn machine, and they have people behind a table. But the movie itself is free. So I know that I'm going to meet her. I'd gone to trivia earlier in the night at some bar because I'm obligated at that point.
That's what I want. When I go to Seattle, I want to join a trivia night.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
But so they dropped me off from there, and I can see her from across the street. I had only seen her pictures, I'm basing on that. And honestly, I could not tell whether or not she was a fatty in those pictures. But I saw her across the street, and she wasn't.
She wasn't.
No, she was an attractive girl.
Yeah.
More so now. Have you seen her Facebook picture? She's got a new haircut. It looks nice.
Oh yeah.
But she's crazy. That's the point.
I don't mind if you call her again.
No,
It's
I
kind
don't.
of fun.
No, it's not fun. It's like Tim, our cousin Tim.
Yeah.
It's the same way you think that's fun until you have to deal with it.
You didn't seem annoyed with it when you were here, though. Like I thought it was
Oh,
funny.
I was real into her. At
I
that
think
point.
Alvina. Actually, I can't remember if Alvina thought it was funny too.
I'll tell you something about Alvina and
Yeah.
Shoe Stars. Do you remember that whole thing?
No.
Okay.
This probably answers my question of whether she thought it was funny or not.
Well, this is going in line with what I was already talking about. So that first night that I see her, I had just broken up with Pincushion, so like it was just one of those things where it's like I gotta prove to myself that I can meet somebody else. And so I go and see this chick, and first of all, I'm across the street chain smoking. I can see her. I'm already 10 minutes late, and I keep smoking. I'm like, I'm gonna make a late appearance, I guess. I don't know why I thought that would be cool. And I can already see that she's cute, but that makes me more nervous.
To
you
me,
know?
it wouldn't even be planned out like I'm going to make this late. It'd be like, I can't do this, I'm going to leave.
Well, I considered that too. I was like, this is not going to go well. So then I psych myself out a whole bunch, and then I go over there, and she's already got a table picked out. Like, it's all outside. And she's cuter than I imagined her being, and so that was exciting. Plus, she's smoking when I go up to meet her for the first time, which is a huge relief to me because Pincushion, who I just dated, hated my smoking, hated my drinking. This girl, because of all her vices, made me really comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, holy God, she
had the same kind of work ethic as you, like, you know what I mean? That's not to sound insulting, but, like, had a job, didn't really care about moving. Like, she was broke all the time is what I'm saying.
She was broke all the time, and she had this Jack in the Box cup, like a 32-ounce cup from Jack in the Box, that I at first assumed was just soda. And I'd been sitting there for maybe 5 minutes. We're just getting to know each other. And she's like, do you want any vodka? She pulls out her purse and pulls out like a pint of vodka.
Yeah.
And she just starts glugging it into her glass. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, I love it. And she wouldn't stop smoking. And I thought she was cute. I was like, this is the girl for me.
What'd you guys talk about?
We didn't talk about much. I just
hi,
remember,
nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was awkward at the beginning, but then here was my big move. Tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
So we're watching Juno on the screen. I'd already seen it. She could give a shit. It's just because it was free that she suggested it. And then it doesn't look that good. Like, it's all blown out of proportion. And the audio is real shitty. Like, you can barely hear anything. So basically, everybody's just hanging out, and it's on in the background. So after a few minutes, I talked about my job a little bit, I think. And I was like, this is not going well. So then I go to the bathroom, splash some cold water in my face, come back, and this is my move.
Did you splash water all over your pants and say, I think we have to go, I pissed myself?
No, but that would have been good.
That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah. I think she would have liked that. No, so we sit back down at the table, and there are, like, flyers for something on the table, like a whole bunch of them. And she has a pen in her. I asked if she has a pen. She takes out the pen. I grab the paper, and without telling her what's going on, I draw a tic-tac-toe board. Like, let's go with this. Not bad, right?
Yeah.
It's cute.
Yeah.
So she seemed real into it, and I could tell she was impressed with me at that point because that's such a mundane, stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
But it also was more entertaining than trying to watch the movie that we couldn't hear or see.
So did you talk while you played tic-tac-toe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good.
And she was really into me. Like, it was obvious. The whole plan was that we were going to go to a bar after that. So, yeah, this is going okay enough. There's no reason I have to fake an emergency or anything. And so we go into Belltown, and I remember we tried to go to a bar, but my license had expired at that point, and I hadn't gotten it renewed yet. And it was like 2 weeks overdue, and everybody was looking. Everybody was looking for that.
Uh-huh.
I thought I could get through at least one bar, but we tried 3 in a row. And that's pretty embarrassing our first time out, right?
Yeah, you know, it's hard. Like, I can't believe people notice it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
was
seriously rarely look to see if the license is expired.
Yeah. It's insane that everybody looked. And
I
then
look at the date. I'm always looking for the birthday.
So here's where I make my dick move after my awesome tic-tac-toe thing earlier is not towards shoe stars, but it becomes clear that I can't drink anywhere unless we go to the corner store because they know me there and they never ask for ID. They know I'm old enough. And they're not going to give me shit about my ID. So we went in there and got beer. And then I kind of crashed in on Margaret, who was already like, oh, because while I was playing tic-tac-toe with her, I had texted Margaret and said that I was in love with her. A little extreme, I know. But I didn't. Margaret thought it was weird that I was meeting her off of Craigslist, and she just didn't want me to bring her over because she didn't know who she was and she could steal all her shit, you know.
So she told you beforehand not to bring her over?
And then I still brought her over.
Wow.
And Margaret was already in bed, and like we had to hang out in the living room and be really quiet. Also because she lived somewhere weird, and we were waiting on her bus. So then after I piss Margaret off for a while. We go back downstairs so she can catch her bus, and she has no cash for the bus. And so she doesn't ask, but she's like, fuck, I'm fucked. I guess I'm sleeping on the streets tonight. And then I'm like, wow, you really couldn't tell me that you didn't have cash earlier? So then we go to an ATM, and I can only take out 20.
Yeah.
And she's
how much is the bus?
Like $3 or
You didn't
something.
have $3 on you
I
at any
didn't.
given time?
I didn't know. Usually I do. I didn't.
You got
for
to
this
carry
reason.
some cash on you.
But she didn't even have an ATM card or anything. Like, she made it clear to me that she was poor in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, she just flat out said it. But I respected her honesty at the time, so I still thought I was into her. So I give her this $20, and she's like, here, let me write you a check just in case I never see you again. I know I'm so weird. I'm so weird. I'm so
She
weird.
was so like that.
Yeah. She talked to herself.
I'm so weird. You hate me.
Yeah, she had really, really strange things that she would do, like her mannerisms, like that lead toward crazy in my head. But at first, like you're thinking she's that
had
manic.
a lot of ticks. You know what I mean?
And you're thinking about that manic pixie girl, you know, from the movies, Natalie Portman from Garden State. Oh, she's just quirky crazy.
Yeah.
I love it. But it soon became clear that she was more than quirky crazy and kind of actually crazy. And the reasons that I was so into her were the wrong reasons. Oh, she chain smokes. She's not going to give me shit for that, blah, blah, blah.
Big tits.
Yeah. Although we never had sex. I felt up her boobs nice, though.
Didn't she want to have sex with you and you wouldn't? You were so sick of her. The only thing I remember you getting annoyed about her...
Because I could tell that she was really into me, and I knew that it wasn't going to work. And so I thought if I had sex with her, that was going to make it so much... It was going to make her even clingier than she was.
Yeah. And she was clingy.
Yeah. And she had Margaret being my best friend of a few years, and female, like... I understand that can weird some people out. It weirded Pincushion out, too. But...
Weirds me out.
But Shoe Star is one of the first times that she's hanging out. This is why she's crazy, because she was sitting there like Margaret and I were playing Mario Kart or something, or Margaret Kart, and yeah, she starts saying things like she does this thing where she talks to herself. Shoe Stars does, like she's actually having a conversation with herself. Like she'll take both ends of the conversation. It's kind of like that daycare kid Katrina. Remember, she would do shit like that. Like she's Katrina all grown up.
Yeah.
And so at this point, like I had made it clear that I'll keep seeing you, but let's not take this any more serious than we're already taking it. And so she takes this opportunity while Margaret's there and I'm hanging out with her to say to Margaret, like, I'm not even there. This is how crazy she is. Why doesn't Nick want me to be his girlfriend, Margaret? And going on and on and on. And she's like, well, you guys are friends. You obviously make out all the time and love each other.
Well, make out all the time?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I've never done with Margaret, ever.
So she's just like throwing an accusation at the female friend like right away. That's pretty deep into the relationship.
Yeah. And Margaret, being sane, can't believe that this is happening. Like, why would she go into a conversation like this? And then I have to pretend like I'm not hearing any of it, even though I'm sitting right there?
You shouldn't have done that.
I think I did for a while. But, yeah, so it was that night that I was too afraid to tell her on the bus ride back. She's like, can I spend the night at your house? Because she'd been spending the night at my house, but we hadn't been sleeping together. Only technically sleeping together. And I was like, oh, I got to work tomorrow, which was never an excuse before. But I saw that side of her, and I couldn't handle anymore. And it was fucked up that I had to break up with her over text or something the next day. But she's still my Facebook friend, and I still think she's cool and attractive for sure.
Yeah.
She was just not what I needed in that moment.
It was pretty fun.
And then I went back to Pincushion, started fucking her for a while again.
Wait a minute. Did you tell the story about Shoe Stars and Alvina?
Oh, my bad.
Oh, wow. I can't believe we strayed away from that.
I remember being so hung up on her before I'd ever taken her over here to meet you guys. Like, because our second date ever, I'm the one that doesn't make the move. Like, I waited forever with Pincushion and then asked her if I can kiss her, which apparently is a big faux pas. But with Shoe Stars, I didn't have to do that because the second night we hung out, she met my other friends who apparently every time I would go to the bathroom would start telling Shoe Stars, Nick is really weird when it comes to girls, but I can tell that he's really into you. If you want to kiss him, you have to make the move because he's not going to do it because he's so freaked out. So, but I didn't know any of that was happening at the time. So I go back to Shoe Star's house to spend the night, and that was weird. But we made out a whole bunch, and I was real into it. But I was too drunk to have sex with her probably. And I didn't have any protection. All those things. So instead we watched Bottle Rocket. Like, that's the movie she chose to watch.
That's when you texted me that you were in love with her.
Right, and that's getting to the Alvina thing. Because I texted you that next day because I was in love with her. I was sure she was the one. Again, for all the wrong reasons. And I think all I texted to you was, oh, I'm so in love with her. She chain smokes and we watched Bottle Rocket. Something like that. I know I mentioned Bottle Rocket. And then I think your wife was having some episode while that whole thing was going on.
Some episode?
Because all of a sudden, Shoe Stars, we were going to come visit you and see the baby. And I just started seeing her, and I realized it was weird. We slept on an air mattress on your floor.
Mom came.
But I had gotten a phone call from you or something while I was on my way there. And apparently you had mentioned in passing to Alvina that I was so in love with Shoe Stars. And based on the Bottle Rocket thing specifically, I think she had some weird delusion where she thought that you were going to fall in love with her when she showed up.
Yeah. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
Yeah, because the text said something like, she drinks, she smokes, and we watch Bottle Rocket going to bed. And I don't know if Alvina and I had been in a fight or something like that before.
I'm going to assume so, yeah.
But I told her that, and she was like, well, good for her. And I'm sorry that that's what you want in a girl. I'm sorry that I don't drink and that I don't smoke and that I think Bottle Rocket's a stupid movie. And I'm like, this is not what I'm saying. And then she's like, no, you're just going to be all over it. And I just kept telling Alvina, like, you can't be rude to her like this when she's here. That's going to be so awkward. So I was a little worried about it.
I know, and so much so that you gave me a warning. And then so the whole time I'm there, I'm thinking Alvina's pissed the whole time.
I know.
Although I think she met her, saw her talk to herself, and decided she was fine.
Obviously, I shouldn't have called to tell you about that because it never did turn into a thing.
No, it didn't at all.
But yeah, I forgot about that. Alvina was fucking pissed before.
Yeah.
That I was going to be.
And I thought it was so weird. I'd never heard about a side of her like that before.
It was like this girl coming, and she was obviously in a bad mood because like mom was coming over with Melissa. And
see, I didn't know that. So we were in imposition, is what you're saying?
No. I'm saying that's why Alvina went off the deep end. Like she was bubbling at the surface. We're always in position on her. I'm in imposition on her.
That's true.
Yeah,
I've seen it for myself.
Although when I texted her that you're gonna stay until 9,
God, I knew you were doing that.
I didn't. She this is what she said.
Oh God, is this gonna be embarrassing?
Says, sounds good. Why not tomorrow morning? What's 12 hours for a cat?
I don't understand that last part.
Because you have to feed a cat. So she's saying, what's 12 more hours?
Really? She loves me?
I guess. That's what it looks like.
All right.
And they're going to Kids Castle tonight.
I hope she doesn't listen to this one then. Whatever I said about Alvina, I take it back. No, is it safe to say, though, that because I have established I come here every month or so.
Yeah.
We come here to record. I come here. I stay for like 2 days during the week.
You
Usually
come here
Tuesday.
more than I go to Seattle, that's for
True.
sure. And I appreciate that.
I appreciate your having me here.
I don't want to leave my family.
Okay.
But I want you to be here in my family.
And you don't want to quit the show, right?
No, I'm not quitting the show.
I wasn't. Okay. I wasn't accusing you of quitting the show. I was just saying, sometimes I feel like you're angling towards that. You're just waiting.
Please.
You're waiting for me to say it first.
Anyway, where are you getting at? You feel like you come here a lot. And
I do come here a lot.
Yeah.
And only most recently do I sometimes get the vibe that your wife's not that into me anymore.
It's not true.
What about...
We're not leaving any of this in. We have this conversation off mic constantly.
And on mic constantly. We're just adding.
And on IM constantly.
And it's nothing specific that she says or does when I'm here.
She acts so bitchy to me too. It's like the
I'm not
wife
even
of,
saying
it's like the
you're
wife
putting
of a
words in my
sitcom.
mouth. You're putting words in my mouth.
No, but
I
I'm
did not
saying,
say she was bitchy.
I'm not saying, but like the Doug Heffernan's wife on King of Queens, Everybody Loves Raymond wife. It's like one of those wives. You know what I mean? Because I'm always cracking my bullshit joke in the middle. And it makes her even more mad. There's just no audience laugh.
No, that's not always true. The difference is that Leanne, what's her name? Leah
Remini.
Let's go with that. She never laughs at Doug's jokes, whereas Alvina, I'd say 80% of the time, thinks you're hilarious and makes it known.
Yeah, but then that's just how she just acts. She just acts cold sometimes. She acts cold to me all the time.
All right.
At least that's what I tell her all the time.
So it's not a problem. Like, I worry about, like, this morning, because I sleep on your couch, right, when I'm here. And so she's getting up for work at 7. my feet are right in her face when she's trying to walk out the door. I just feel like I'm a big slob, like my ass is hanging out of my sweatpants. I look all sweaty, and I'm probably snoring. It seems like an awful thing for her to have to deal with once a month.
No, I don't think it bothers her.
For 3 days at a time.
She doesn't tell me that it bothers her.
Okay, I'm going to throw this out there. Now, your wife and you and your daughter for your daughter's second birthday are coming to Seattle as a family.
Uh-huh.
You're going to have a hotel for a couple nights, is that correct? We should get Alvina on the show again.
Yeah.
You think she'll do it?
Yeah, I think she will. If Sophie spends the night with Grandpa, then we'll have all night in Seattle. We'll just get her drunk enough, and I bet she does it. Smoke a little weed in the hotel room.
Yeah, why not?
I doubt she'll let us, but
Put some towels under the door, though.
yeah.
Make sure you do that. Have you ever been busted in a hotel room for smoking weed?
I've never smoked weed in a motel room.
Really?
No, never.
Oh, it's the best place to do it. You got yourself some free cable, which I usually don't have otherwise. One time I was staying with my friend Margaret we met up with her friends somewhere in Oregon, and they had a hotel, and all of us are big potheads. And so, we don't think to put towels under the door or anything because it just seems so natural to us that we would just do this. And so we start smoking, and it turns out that we're going to have to spend the night now. So they call down to whoever and ask if they would bring one of those Rollicots up to us. And so the guy comes in, and he has a gun on his belt for some reason. I don't know what authority he has to be carrying a gun. But he's rolling the bed in, and it obviously reeks of weed. And it occurred to none of us that, oh, God, this could be an issue. And it wasn't, except for he had a gun while he was scolding us the whole time, and that's what made it scary.
And he was scolding you?
Yeah, it was just basically a matter of, listen, I'm not going to judge you guys for however you want to party, but just keep in mind that there are other people around here, so you might want to put some towels under the door. That's all he said.
Oh,
he didn't, take our weed from us or anything.
I dig it. That's hip.
Yeah. And we invented a game that night because they were 30 stores up on this balcony, and we overlooked a parking lot, and we were all smokers, so we were all trying to flick our cigarettes to hit the center of the big yellow arrow in the parking lot, and I was the only one that did it, and I did it twice in a row.
Wow.
I'm pretty awesome.
You guys were doing a lot of littering from the 30th floor. You could have gotten in trouble for that, too.
We were reckless. When I go to a hotel,
From that
I want
height,
to feel
if
like
it
a
lands
rock
on
star.
someone's head, it's going to go right through.
I'm sorry,
kill 'em.
I stepped on you. What was that?
From that height, when you throw a cigarette down, it hits somebody and they're dead.
No, that's a penny.
That's the
joke.
Black Brotherhood, Nick are out of control. They would crash the airwaves with a microphone. So sit down tight and listen close. All the ladies now take off your clothes. Black Brotherhood. Black Brotherhood.
Be with Jerry Seinfeld's voice.
No, because you could conceivably believe that maybe this is how bees' lives are, and this kind
No,
of stuff
you could not
really
conceivably
happens,
believe that.
and they communicate to each other. But then when a mosquito comes up wearing goggles, it's where'd you get those goggles?